G'day, Simon at South Sea Cars and Coffee. I'm with Mark, who I got dragged over to Mark by Jim, who's like a 7-time Car of the Week winner, going, have you seen this car? I hadn't, I saw it, it's definitely Car of the Week. What is it, mate?
It's a 1934 Rolls-Royce Phantom 2.
It is incredible. Hey, check this thing out. So this is a Rolls-Royce in the true spirit of Rolls-Royce, right? This is what Rolls-Royce started as, and in my mind as well, will always be thought of, right?
Right, I think it's still a pre-war classical era that you think of as being the true old-time Rolls-Royce.
Now let's talk about the car. So what year did you say it was?
1934.
And did Rolls-Royce build the body on this vehicle?
No, the body was done by Hooper, who was one of the coach makers. They eventually became the full-time coach maker for Rolls, but at the time, the car companies would build the chassis and the engine, and then send it to the coach to put the coach on it.
And I thought you were going to say that answer, which is why I asked. So if you miss what we're talking about then, in this day of Rolls-Royce, this body, this complete car wasn't built by Rolls-Royce. They built the chassis, they built the engine, they had it rolling on wheels. Notice Rolls-Royce on their wheels. However, they go off to a coach builder, and the coach builder effectively builds the coach around the car. And lots of companies used to do that. Rolls-Royce used to do it, Packard used to do it here in the States. That's the way all of these big classic cars used to get built.
Right, exactly.
And then no two cars were the same either. Everything was built according to what the person wanted at that particular time as well.
That's right. There'd be similarities maybe with the particular coach builder, but there was great diversity even within the one coach.
Now this car to me obviously looks like a limousine. It has the divider between the driver's compartment. Hey, and at least I've got to say the driver's compartment is actually enclosed, because a lot of these old limousines, the driver would sit under a soft roof with a windshield, but out in the elements, right?
Correct.
But
yes.
Not with this. They must have liked their driver, because it's actually got windows that wind up, and it's got a comfortable seat, and it's got a roof on there as well. So, do you have the history on the original owners of the car and where it started off?
Right. So it started in England, near London. A lady bought it in 1934, and then it was sold 2 years later to a lawyer.
Right.
I have his name, but I'm not sure about the history from that point until it picks up. A fellow who was a farmer outside of Sacramento owned it in the late 1950s, 1960s, and owned it all the way up to about 6 years ago.
Well, the fact that it was started its life in the UK explains why it's right-hand drive as well, obviously.
Right.
But I don't know in this era, where could you get a left-hand drive Rolls-Royce of this era? I don't know.
So there were a certain amount that were made in Springfield, Massachusetts. They actually came over.
Interesting.
And made a group called the Springfield Rolls-Royce, and they were left-hand drive. Now, my mechanic feels that they weren't of the same quality because they didn't have all the skilled workers that they had back in England.
Yeah, I could believe that. Like the coach builders that they would have had in England used to building this sort of thing would have been a whole nother level. Now let's talk about the monster that is the engine in this thing. It is absolutely huge. First of all, I want to point out, look at the firewall on this thing. It's actually die cast. So when the coach builder got this car, they would have built all this around it, but the firewall would have been sitting there, right?
Right.
That would have been part of the car. Obviously for safety reasons, but there's so much going on and so much that's being driven off the engine. So down here we can see a drive, it looks like a gear drive coming off what looks like at the front of the water pump, but then there's a whole sorts of stuff. So distributor being driven off here. I was trying to work out earlier whether this was the fuel pump or not. It looks to me like it might be.
It is
the fuel pump.
It is a fuel pump.
And we come down over here, it looks like the water pump that's down.
I believe that's right, yeah.
Water pump. And then over here, we have what looks to be the oil pump.
Correct.
So everything's on the outside of the car, which is a great idea, because if you own a modern car and you need to change the water pump or the oil pump, you got a lot of work going on. You got to start pulling the whole thing apart, whereas this, everything was accessible and you could see where it was all driving. But the intricacy of the linkages in this thing, I stood there for about 3 or 4 minutes before just looking at everything. It just absolutely blew my mind. The other thing as well, this, interesting, right? This is actually basically like a mechanical shock absorber, correct?
Right, correct.
And you can adjust the level here, and then this will slide up and down this edge and basically control the amount of spring tension you've got there. So the engineering in this car, you could see why they were so incredible. Coil sitting up here by the look of it, all the high tension leads running through this pipe here to protect them from heat, going through the other side. It is a magnificent car. Question is, do you work on it yourself?
No.
Have you found an expert that knows what they're doing?
I do. I have in fact, I found the expert before I found the car, which I would recommend if you buy a car this old, unless you're really good, that's a good idea to have someone who really knows what they're doing.
And dare I ask how old the person is that's working on it?
He's about 55.
Well, you know what? I thought you were going to say they're 70 or 80 or so, because it tends to be the age of people that understand these cars.
I know, and we've had that discussion. I'm worried that he needs to find someone and train him to keep this going, because I fear that might be a dying art.
So the car is beautiful. How many years did you say you owned it?
Between 5 and 6.
5 and 6. And what drew you towards this car? What made you want to get it?
I've always loved Rolls-Royces.
Yep.
And I've always had an eye on older cars. I just never believed that I could own something like this until I met Neil, who's the mechanic restorer, who that's all he works on are pre-war cars. And he had me talk to some other owners who convinced me it could be a day-to-day car if you wanted it, and so I got convinced that maybe sort of regular old person could actually own one if you're persistent enough.
So regular car, how many miles you put on it?
I put on probably 200 to 300.
Right, okay. Have you thought about taking it on road trips to places like up to Monterey or something like that?
I have, and we'll probably do that at some
Good for
point,
you.
but I want to make sure that we have everything going. In fact, it's going to need a retorque of the engine in another 50 miles or so.
Right. Look, I wouldn't be afraid to do it. Well, it is such a beautiful car. I mean, let's look at these headlights over here. Like, massive headlights, everything on this car. The grille, of course, which opens and closes. It acts like a thermostat, so
Right.
You notice at the moment it's closed off, so that won't allow air to go through the radiator, but it'll open up when the car gets hot. Just little things like the dual horns, the little I guess side markers. I don't know, they'd be indicators, would they? They're probably more like side markers, so you know where your fenders are out in the car.
Right, exactly.
Well, mate, as our Car of the Week winner, and very deservedly so, you get this Maguire's complete kit, which includes the hot shine foam, the quick interior detailer, perfect clarity glass cleaner, ultimate wash and wax, the hybrid ceramic detailer, and a microfiber towel. Keep this spectacular looking Rolls-Royce in the condition it's in. Hey, congratulations and thanks for bringing it out.
Well, thanks for asking us. This is great.